And then all of your, what was it you said?
My nerd friends have COVID.
Your nerd friends have COVID. What does that say?
That's a C word. C word.
Ding, 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 ding.
I mean, they're sick. They've got a cold.
Yeah, I can't say COVID.
C word. No.
Can't say election. So the reason why you were thinking about your nerdy friends is because I saw an article recently. It was hey Trev, get this one, the one from Scientific American. This was the most recent thing that I saw. It's time to engineer.
Did you just make that screen bigger because I'm old?
Old?
He does not do that for the guests in their 20s.
What was it? What was it that award you won? The 40 under
40 under 40.
The 40
which
just
is
barely
not
under
as
40?
cool as 30 under 30 by any means.
So it's time to engineer the sky. This obviously caught my attention, and wait, look at that. Already it seems like
Can't possibly be Scientific American
like
with
a
a
late-
cartoon like that.
a late Beatles album. So what is that? What did the caption say underneath the headline, Trev? Global warming is so rampant. Every time we have a hot summer, they say that.
Yeah.
Global warming is so rampant that some scientists say we should begin altering the stratosphere to block incoming sunlight, even if it jeopardizes rain and crops. Even if no sacrifice is too much to stop the...
And the article you sent to me was even worse
The second one.
than that.
The one that one was more... Well, this was the first one I sent to you.
I know. I never read. Well, you sent it to me on Apple News. I was like,
Yeah, and then
who
I
has
sent
Apple
you
News?
the regular link.
So why the climate change problem is because the Earth is in trouble, but we've got a solution even if it puts the Earth in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, they touted it as like less in trouble, and very along the lines of like, we're already
Jeopardize?
doing this. This is just 10% more.
So, okay, so you are originally a scientist.
I mean, if you watch Big Bang Theory, I am not a scientist. I am just a geologist.
You do have a scientific education.
Yes.
And the word geo is in geoengineering, and you are a geologist, so that
Yeah.
puts you sort of in the
realm.
in the realm. So, what is the first thing that you think of when you? Well, you just said that we're already doing this. Now we just want to do it a little bit more. Is that? Are we talking chemtrails here?
Oh, I mean, the one that I was reading was like, well, this is only 10% more than the coal power plants are already emitting. It's like, well, why is this part of the conversation? I thought we were trying to come off coal in general.
Yeah.
And now we're saying like just a little bit more.
Just a little. Well. Yeah, like, in other words, it wouldn't make enough of a difference.
Yeah.
Right. So, all right. So for those following along at home who are like, what in the hell are they talking about? Is there an explanation in this one, or should we go to the NRDC? This tells the story of these guys that went out in the desert and released some sulfur dioxide.
Yeah.
And
With freaking balloons.
with balloons.
Anytime someone says the word balloon and scale, even in the same conversation, I just I can feel my vomit in my own mouth because it's just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is something that I was thinking of when we were talking about this article. Are you talking about how are you referring to scaling the effect of a singular balloon on this area of the sky and then scaling that up to what it can do to the entire stratosphere?
I'm just saying of the overall problem that global warming, let's just use that as a balloon term, if you will, this is not going to help in the slightest.
It's not.
No.
So why is it so? Go to the NRDC one, Trev.
This is what happens when you try to do science for the sake of science and
Well,
socioeconomic.
there's plenty of funding for science for the sake of science.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea is, let's define what we're talking about. So the idea is you release some sort of aerosol into the atmosphere, and you cause more sunlight to be so already some sunlight is reflected from. This is a terrible picture. Already some sunlight is reflected from clouds and whatever else, right?
Yeah.
And so now the idea is we could put shit in the air that
Yeah.
causes more
Sulfuric acid in the air
sulfuric acid
to reflect.
Isn't that a pollutant? Isn't that like
Yes.
that's a bad thing, right?
It's highly regulated, at least in terms of oil and gas.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So is there another? Oh, what does it say right there? Solar radiation management, a set of geoengineering strategies intended to minimize global warming by reflecting the sun's energy away from the earth. So anyway, we're going to use man-made ways of putting shit in the air that reflects more sunlight back. Didn't they do this in the Matrix and it didn't work out too well for them?
I mean, even the instance of the volcano in the Philippines in the 90s.
That's
that
the
erupted
example.
and then it
Right.
blanketed for the next 2 years and reduced the temperature of the earth by 1 degree.
Yeah. So we want to try to recreate
But that's
that.
a very biased statement just in terms of science speaking. Sorry, but
Yeah.
we're not going to talk about any of the other knockoff effects of.
Well, and I guess that's why it's controversial, right? It's controversial because, well, what about what are the unintended side effects? Well, that one article said something about plants and crops and livestock. We're really obsessed with this whole saving the planet thing, as a human race.
Yeah.
And it's not really saving the planet. The planet's gonna be here. The planet's not going anywhere. What we're really trying to
I mean, it's
save
not going to
is-
be our problem.
we're trying to preserve the future
Yeah.
of human civilization. But if you look historically, and we're trying to do it to almost to the point that almost no sacrifice is too much. Like that one article said, even if we sacrifice our crops, it's almost, I saw something else recently. If we all cut our meat and dairy consumption in half, which, to you and me, maybe that's not, well, that's actually a big deal to me. Maybe it's not a big deal to you. But in some places of the world, they would be like, well, how else are we going to feed ourselves? So we have this
I
notion
love that most of these debates and discussions are happening in first world countries.
for sure. So we have this attitude that no sacrifice is too much if it means, reducing the temperature or what have you. We're in the history of human civilization, we're pretty much the first one or two generations. This is the first time in 300,000 years of Homo sapiens that anybody has really worried about the future of mankind. Nobody's. So, what am I trying to say? That's a new phenomenon. Is it should we be that? Should we be so worried about that sacrificing anything is worth it, or maybe should we just focus on having the best life for everybody that we can now, because an asteroid could hit the planet, right, and wipe us all out anyway.
Yeah, I think most of this is outside of our control in general.
It's the size of
And if you look at the
president.
geologic timescale,
Yes, tell me about the geologic timescale.
there are ice ages and warming ages repeatedly.
Yeah.
There's really nothing you can do about it. And so we have this kind of dare I say, I don't know, can I say the word elitist, or is that going to send off a flag? You have these elitist people and cultures where it's kind of like a luxury goods market, right? It's a rarity to try to save the planet. Well, they're all making a shit ton of money off of it at the end of the day while they fly around their jets and
Yeah.
their yachts and whatever. And the way I think about it is most of the people that I talk to, the general population, at least in this first world hyper-privileged country that we live in, they don't care they're just tired of like their electricity costs increasing.
Yeah.
They're tired because who's going to pay for all these things in the end?
And is it really the best way? Like, is it the best way to spend our time and money? I mean,
I do think we are escalating all of these results for sure. Like we are shortening the time scale of whatever's going to happen climate wise. But
yeah, perhaps.
And I do think that like, what most people don't really talk about is kind of like the balance between consumerism, which I would say is like definitely the society that we live in these days, versus global warming. And
I mean, you got new shoes every time I see you.
Dude, I wear yes, I do. Well, I walk a lot. But like no one ever wants to talk about like less in general.
Oh, about changing our lifestyle to just consume less.
Yeah, like do I think it's necessary?
There are people who are kind of into that now. You got your homesteaders and you got your minimalists and whatnot.
The centrists.
Yeah, like the normal
kind of
people.
like,
yeah, the regular folks.
I mean, I recycle, and then you see on the news that
it all gets
doesn't really matter in Texas. It's all going to landfill.
It all goes in the landfill, and and then they sell some of it to China.
Yeah.
So, but that's the thing has struck me recently, which is like, again, we see these headlines like, it may be time to do this next dramatic thing because we're just not getting it done in terms of managing carbon and whatnot. And I think, like, if you follow modern human Homo sapiens, right? Like whatever it is, 300,000 years ago to now. Like, if you look at the whole story arc of that, of human civilization, and well, 2/3 of that time was probably just hunter-gatherers, and then we start living in towns and making tools and shit, and then we start making weapons and learn how to make war with each other, and then eventually we get to the different periods of antiquity, and then all of a sudden, in the last 100 years, we learn how to make affordable, abundant energy, and the advancement of civilization goes exponentially beyond it. There's been more progress, in terms of how people live and the capabilities that we have in the last 100 years.
The comforts
than
they're unwilling to give up.
So is it this is gonna get me thrown off, whatever, for sure. But is it such a bad story if we say the arc of humanity was all of that, and then there's kind of this big flourish at the end, and then shit happens, and there's some sort of I'm not saying we all get wiped out, but I don't think anybody has put forward a scenario where climate wipes out humanity completely. But even if it did, that's not such a bad story, right? Because, well, to your point about geological, things change,
yes.
and then some new story.
And you got to do your podcast in the end,
and I did. And then and then something new happens, and maybe that's the end of. I mean, I definitely think, and then it's the beginning of something else.
Yeah, something else is going to take out humanity before the climate does. I mean, it's pretty disheartening to wake up and live in reality most days, because you're just
do it to ourselves, probably. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, that's why I'm on this Elon Musk kick, because I just finished the book by Walter Isaacson. Have you read it?
No, I'm still.
Have you read it, Trevor?
I'm still reading the book Trevor gave me for Christmas.
Oh my God, you guys are probably audiobook guys too. You don't read,
no.
you just listen to them.
I don't like audiobooks.
I don't do audiobooks.
But how much of a book about Elon Musk is going to be real?
Well, can I just also say that it's I find it irritating when people tell me that they read books, but then come to find out that they only listen to books, because it's not the same.
I've actually never done an audiobook before.
I listened to the Elon book on audiobook just because I had to drive to Dallas and back in a day, and so
that's a long day.
I wanted to finish the book.
So what stands out about what about the Elon book?
Well, they connect all of the threads together to where you kind of understand how he makes decisions and all this kind of stuff, because he's got this extreme moral conviction that humans should be a multi-planetary species, and that we should preserve human consciousness by getting to Mars, because like this place is totally screwed, and he doesn't want the flicker of human intelligence in the universe to go out, and we should colonize Mars. And so all of his business ventures, everything that he's ever done, is all in support of getting to Mars. It's fascinating.
Terraforming.
I think I agree with Elon on a lot of things, but I think I disagree with him on that. I actually don't see how preserving human anything passes the so what test. Why? Why is that so important?
Oh, I don't know, but I just find it fascinating.
Oh, if that's sure that's how it drives his decisions. But I think I think the opposite. I think that we're way too preoccupied with sort of preserving the future of humanity when we ought to just spend more time.
It's really not all that great.
Yeah, like what are we like? That's a moral conviction. I don't know. What do you think, Trev?
Well, I think that there's a difference between being concerned with the future generations and the generation now. And kindness and charity are a present thing. It's an in the moment thing. You know, doing something out of, you know, like if somebody like hurts you and then says, "Oh, but this is good for you later in the future." Well, there are certain cases where like, okay, like that's all right because, you know, it's you and it's now, but
Kayla says that to her kids every day.
Right.
I mean, it's what we say when we take them to the doctor to get their shots. It's only going to hurt for a second, and then you won't get sick.
Right, sure.
Maybe you won't get sick.
You won't get polio.
Okay, you won't get polio.
You'll get plastic in your veins, but you won't have polio.
Yeah.
What are you doing to this one?
Yeah.
The microplastics have been found in human blood and in meat and in cows and chickens.
Well, that's because they've been grinding up junk food with the packaging and everything and feeding it to the pigs. But I think I don't understand why we're so obsessed. And you know, in the U.S., people here in America, we keep hearing more and more about decisions that are made and things that are being influenced by these like global entities. You know,
for the future,
the WEF and the WHO and the
for the future,
for
of
the
mankind.
future,
But
preserving.
Why does future why do future humans who don't exist yet take priority over the humans who exist now?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
And
why are we obsessed with it? Like we're obsessed with it.
And so, okay, then if you really want to know what I think, then
we got lots of time.
If you want to, if you're looking at like the history, like we were talking about of Homo sapiens and such, as soon as the hunter-gathering age ended and we got into, it was even hunter-gathering because they would conquer other tribes to take over the land and such, and that grew and such. And so for forever, it's always been conquering other lands and other peoples for control. You know, there's all the specific reasons, trade or land, or geographical advantage, but it's all been the basic the going back to the balloon concept of it is control. So it's always been for that, but suddenly, you know, right after you know World War II, it pretty much the fight for conquering other lands and such pretty much dwindled out in popularity among the global elites and such. And so now we don't really have that much anymore. Even in Russia, some people claim that, oh, Putin is just a power-hungry man who's trying to take over the world. Well, that's not what he's doing, because if he wasn't, he would keep going at it in Ukraine, but he hasn't gone at it in Ukraine because he already took the southern coast. Hang on, I'm bringing it back around, because he already took the southern coast of Ukraine for that trade route. So the point is, conquering the world isn't a concept anymore that anyone is really seriously
Not conquering.
pursuing. No.
Controlling the world
No,
is still very much a thing, but not conquering.
So that's the overall, that's the underlining concept. But conquering the world has died out in popularity. So that's suddenly not a thing anymore. We don't really have that. But that control. So are we supposed to believe that the control to the desire to control the world and people isn't there anymore? Well, it's not in the form of conquering anymore, but now we see all these people on all these forums and such who are saying, oh, you need to do this, listen to me, listen to us globally. It's not even just in countries anymore. It's, the World Economic Forum. It's all these gatherings of people are saying, listen to us. The whole world should listen to us because this is all in your best interest. So, it's the conquering facet isn't there anymore. But what the people who want to control the world suddenly, like after all these hundreds and thousands of years, isn't there anymore?
We didn't all of a sudden have no more people.
It's just in a different format.
Yeah.
Well, I think, it's always been about power. It's less in the form of conquering. It is still absolutely in the form of
And people
control.
would fight off the other
Conquering's not cool
conquerors.
anymore.
People would fight off the other conquerors coming in because it's very obvious, they're killing our people, defend ourselves. But now there are these other people who have the same idea as Genghis Khan and Alexander the Great and such, who they're still saying we want to control, listen to us to do all these things, but now they're doing it in such a manner that it takes a moral high ground, all because the future's at risk, because the world is at risk.
So rally behind this cause because it's good for our future.
Yeah, but they're not killing our people anymore now, so we're inclined to follow them and buy into all of it.
What do you think?
You guys watch a lot of Fox News at home?
We don't watch
Fox
that.
News isn't in.
First of all, we live in different homes.
Fox News is not mainstream. Fox News, they don't.
I'm not a Fox
They're
News
a bunch. They're just red CNN.
I'm not sure I've ever actually watched. I bet the last time I watched any sort of like network news was gotta be 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched. So you were gonna say something?
I just... I'm like, I don't know. How did we get down this rabbit hole?
Yeah, so I think the point is that I think I see where he's coming from. Because I'm asking the question.
Well, the control thing, that's all the weather. That's exactly what we led with.
I'm asking the question, why is it that we're suddenly now in the course of like human history, why is it suddenly now we're being presented with all of these things that we have to get behind, and no sacrifice is too small to head off some sort of climate disaster? Like there's all of this compulsion to do everything in the interest of future humans. Like that's a new thing. And what he's saying is it's the new iteration, or it's the reincarnation of people who want to control the world, of power.
And since it's the future, you can make promises that you don't have to deliver on because we're all going to be dead by then. Because it's about the future.
Kind of like net zero by 2030. Wait, did I say 2030? I meant 2050. When am I retiring? What's my 2050.
When is my term up? That's exactly what Trudeau's doing.
Right. So, what do you think?
But this is just civilization in general.
Right. Yeah.
There's always going to be something that we should all get behind in terms of like pack mentality of the human element.
It's just, it's what's new is now it's at a global scale. Like usually it would be tribal, or it would be family, or So what did we determine here?
That all of it's meaningless and we're all going to die eventually anyway, so none of this matters. But you can't just tell society that none of this matters, because then there would just be like mass chaos.
Would there be? What if we just told everybody, you know what?
It's called average intelligence because 50% of the population is below the line. You cannot have those people running around doing whatever they want.
What was it George Carlin said? Think about
rat shit, bat shit,
the dumbest person you know, and then realize that 50% are dumber than that, something like that. What if we did? What if we just told everybody, you know what, everybody? Forget about all of the forget about worrying about climate change. Forget about worrying about all about.
We'd all kill each other right now.
Like Well, that's one possibility. But what if we just said, you know what, everybody, like, live your best life, and to Trevor's point, you know, kindness and charity, do right by the people next to you, and we're just not gonna worry about all that other shit.
No one operates that way.
What would happen?
It's
though?
not about the collective good.
What is it about?
Personal comfort and personal choice.
But if you're asking me to give up half my meat consumption and keep my air conditioning warmer, that's not in the interest of my personal comfort.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, most of those things are things that humans aren't going to do anyway.
Oh. Yeah.
What if you put it in the context of, like, some of these things you change or you worry about, like, could prolong your life? You not want to live longer? I want to live longer.
I don't want to live longer.
Longer
Have you
than
ever
what?
seen, like, have you seen the TikTok videos where it's like, you ask the men, like, how often do you think about the Roman Empire?
All the time.
They're like, all the time.
No,
I was
think about
shocked.
the
I asked my own
Crusades.
husband, who's like never mentioned the Roman Empire before ever, and he's like, I don't know, probably at least once a month. And I was like, what?
Yeah, my answer to the question
What?
was a couple times a week.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, like, what
Because
context?
there's so much in life now. There's so much.
But
of
like, back
that-
to the Roman Empire.
There's so much
That's
of what
the-
we do now that is so similar to what was happening in the Roman Empire. I think about it all the time.
No.
Like it was right before. Well,
Well, the
Roman
Romans
history
didn't. The
is-
Romans didn't say, you know what?
let's see the clouds.
Screw Michael O'Sullivan and all his kids, and we're not building these damn roads. We're not figuring out this drainage system.
No.
Well, they were doing it for the people then and now.
Yeah. No, I'm all for doing things for.
Yeah. Like, I would
Like
like
what-
to breathe less pollutants in my air. Maybe it would prolong my lifehood.
Yeah, but what if we took all the money that we're spending on fighting climate change and we just put it into all the time and money, and we just put it into doing like feeding people and putting roofs over people's heads and things like that. And
Good point.
The people who exist now.
Or just like bringing people out of poverty in general,
yeah,
solving world hunger.
I mean, what was it Elon said? He said, "I'll give $1 billion if you to anybody who can give me a plan on how to solve hunger in Africa or something." Wasn't it something like that?
Yeah.
And
Well, you know what the women's, or at least my Roman Empire is?
oh yeah, what is your Roman?
It's death. I
It's-
think about death at least once a day.
Well, this is a dark turn.
At least once a day.
What do you think about death?
I think about, like, well, how old am I going to be when I die? What am I going to die from? What if that car in front of me stops too fast and I'm just out like a light? Who's going to, like, you know, raise my kids the way
Do
I
all
would
women
like
think
them
about
to
that?
be? I think
Is
a
that a women
majority
thing?
of women think about dying or death in general.
I could not have predicted this direction in the
Why?
conversation.
But why is it not? Some would say it's comforting thought. Why is it not comforting?
It's not comforting because I want to, like, maximize my time on Earth.
Yeah.
So
To
there
what
are things
end?
that
Before
I'm
you go
willing to
to-
do today
Before
that
you
would
go to the
prolong
next
my life.
planet. The next.
Well, I don't think I ever want to go to another planet.
By the way, I recently learned. I learned this on Twitter. No, excuse me, X, formerly known as Twitter.
X, formerly known as
Which
Twitter.
is exactly where they want you learning, Michael.
I learned that Mars is not another planet. It's not a different planet. It's
It's a
just another realm.
Binary, non-binary.
Another realm.
Another realm in the whole flat thing.
What?
So if you travel, so the Earth is flat. We know this now, right? And and
And I'm crazy because death is my Roman Empire.
if you travel across the boundary that they don't let you travel across, because then you'll find out that the Earth isn't round. You can get to Mars.
Oh, okay.
You don't know this? You haven't. I'm
No,
surprised.
I don't go on Twitter. I find it a
It's-
hellscape.
It's a
I
realm.
have enough
The realm. So
daily
you think about that.
hellscapes in my life.
So
Well, what does a longer life get you?
More time to live.
Why?
now you're sounding like our vice president.
Because
Well-
you're spending. Because what it sounds like is you think about dying so much and it haunts your thoughts. Why would you want to do that for longer?
What do you mean?
Well, that's a good
Living?
point.
Because I want to see my children grow up and I would like
Well,
to
you're
see
gonna
if
die
they have
eventually. So
children.
why do you keep Why do you keep thinking about it?
I think
Because I don't want to have anything that like causes me to die before
so. What do you?
necessary.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it.
Like I probably like eat too much red meat. I should probably like
No, you
eat
don't.
less
no,
meat.
you should probably eat more red meat.
I should probably like.
everything you've
I
been
mean,
told-
God knows what I breathe out in this city
Everything you've been
every
told about
day.
red meat, I think, is wrong.
All those.
I mean, even like
reviews have been
even
redacted.
jogging in the morning sometimes, like one of those mosquito trucks comes around the corner. You're like, oh shit, well, what did I just inhale? I'm definitely going to get some type of cancer.
Wow, you're really So
So you want more time to do this?
No, I
the
want
longer you live, the
less.
more you're
I
gonna
want
be-
less things
to worry
like
about.
external agents in my day to day
Have you thought about Montana?
trying to like poison and kill me. And
Well, okay, so
Then I would get to live longer.
Actually, you're bringing up a great point, and we're probably out of time. But we could come back and do this another time. Which is, I'm firmly convinced that when you look at the increase of health problems, of cancer, of heart disease, of all these things, in particularly in Western world, particularly in the United States, over the last 50, 60, 70, 80 years. I think that it has everything to do with the opposite of what they say it has to do with. So they say, oh, it's because you're eating too much red meat, and oh, because of like all this bullshit. But if you look at some of the things you're talking about, all the chemicals that are in everything that we do every day, all of the processed foods, all of that stuff began to come into existence during the same period of time that the lines are going up on how many people are having all these health problems. So I think there's something to be said for.
oh yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to leave here
we're messing up our-
disenchanted today.
Like I think
What am I doing with my life?
Yeah, I think we're doing that to ourselves, and I think I think that everything that we're told about what we should be eating or whatever are doing, most of that is all driven by industry and special interests and who's trying to promote, whatever at the time. But
And to the benefit of the elites.
and the elites.
No, it's not it's the future.
It's the future.
The
No.
future. The
'Cause
benefit
the
of the
elites know
future.
about the future.
The benefit of those who
That's
do
what
not
the
exist.
elites want us to
We
think.
forgot to sing a song
You sing songs on this?
just at the beginning.
Oh.
We didn't do a song. All right, we'll finish
We'll
with
have
a
to-
song. What song should we finish with?
Um,
You didn't think of one?
no,
we
it's your
played
show.
one.
Here's
The volume
here's
just
I
didn't work.
Raindrops keep falling on my head.
Keep falling on my
That
head.
doesn't mean my eyes will soon
I
be.
don't know any
turning.
words
See?
beyond.
Doesn't this make you feel it?
Raindrops
Not
keep
for me.
falling on my head.
Raindrops keep falling on my head.
They keep
It
falling.
was like, I don't
They keep
understand
falling.
what's going on right now.
If you want me to sing, there's going to have to be a lot more vodka in here.
More Cheetos. We're done. That's it. Dum, dum.